Let me just ask that pointedly. Was it clear to you, General Sadat?
Sir, I was blindfolded again. I didn't believe that this day will happen. Maybe I was in full denial. It was my country. It was clear towards the end because every day I was waiting for my own death as I was fighting in the front line. So, yes, when, you know, we didn't get support. I got B-52 a couple of times, you know, chaired up. Then it didn't support me. It didn't drop bombs. So, yeah, we were doomed.
Congressman, if I just may add one thing, the U.S. military, by the middle of June, their numbers of the districts that they were saying were controlled by the Taliban were half the numbers that I was reporting, and then within 2 weeks, their numbers matched mine.
Why do you think that was?
Because the U.S. military was telling us that the withdrawal was being conducted in an orderly fashion, and the Afghan military, or I'm sorry, the Afghan government was not in danger of collapse. Admitting such a rapid degradation in the security in the districts in Afghanistan would have been an admission that that policy was failing. And the administration, again, wanted to leave Afghanistan. It was not going to change its policy, even though the facts on the ground were showing that the security situation was deteriorating.
Is there anybody specific that you attribute to telling you that?
Oh, it was General Milley himself said it on television.
How do you, General Sadat, looking at what Mr. Raggio just said, what was being put out in the media here, what was being said by General Milley, what was being put out in intelligence, how did that rosy, we'll call it a rosy assessment, that's an understatement. It's an understatement to call it a rosy assessment. How did that affect your decision-making on the ground? Did you buy into it? Did you not buy into it? You mentioned already that, you know, it gave you some blinders to some extent, your relationships. But can you help elaborate on that just a little bit?
Sir, the truth of the matter is after President Biden announced withdrawal, the U.S. forces and Afghan forces were in complete disarray with each other. Everybody was trying. The U.S. forces were ordered to leave. The Afghan forces we were trying to hold with our teeth, with our hands, whatever we could have got. So no, nothing really mattered to me anymore. Whatever Washington was saying, I was trying very hard with my brothers to save our country. The truth of the matter is, it was excruciating to separate two war brothers, two militaries that worked for 20 years. Suddenly, we were told not to work anymore.
You're saying what Washington was saying. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth here. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. What Washington was saying didn't matter to you at all on the ground there because
I didn't trust them.
Garbage. It was crap.
I don't want to jump into I have a lot of respect for the U.S. military, for the veterans. I have worked with the CIA as a counterterrorism task force commander with the U.S. military for several years. But it seems as if when it came to Afghanistan during President Biden, a lot of the decisions made in the U.S. Military and in the CIA were very, very politically driven. Sometimes they told us that as we don't know about what President Biden is thinking and deciding, they didn't know as well. President Trump, of course, he had made mistakes. The Doha Agreement was a mistake, but he listened to his generals. He listened to the assessments. He sent us letters about how can we win, for example, what can we do, these things. But I think when it came to President Biden, the vendetta didn't really allow President Biden to see Afghanistan for what it is. Even today, as this administration's diplomats are going around the world and lobbying for Taliban, the fact that everyone is trying to push Afghanistan under the rug, sir, is going to hurt your national security. You're not recognizing the threat as it is.